When you think about solar power, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For most of us, it's about saving money. But today, we're going to flip that script. We're going to talk about what happens when the lights go out and really explore the hidden and sometimes devastating cost of being left in the dark. For years, the entire conversation around solar has been dominated by one thing: savings. How much are you going to save on your electric bill? And look, that's absolutely important, but it completely overlooks the most vital benefit of having a solar and battery system, especially if you live somewhere with severe weather. It misses resilience. So, that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if the way we've all been taught to think about the return on investment for solar, what if it's fundamentally incomplete? What if the biggest benefit isn't something you can even see on your monthly bill? Yeah, for way too long, the solar discussion has been totally bogged down in things like kilowatt hours and how fast you'll make your money back. But honestly, in a world with increasingly extreme weather, we need to shift our focus from just payback periods to something way more fundamental: security. And this is the new reality. For places like Florida, where hurricane season brings this constant threat of power outages, the whole equation just changes. Suddenly, the value of solar isn't just about saving a few bucks on a bill. It's about the fundamental security of your home, your business, and your family. Okay, so if we're going to value this big shift towards security, we need a new way to measure it. We need a concept that actually captures that hidden value of staying powered on when the grid goes down. It's called the avoided outage cost, or AOC for short.
So what is the AOC? Well, think of it as a powerful new way to measure the real return on a solar investment. It goes way beyond the simple cost of electricity by factoring in all the potential losses that the traditional sales models just completely ignore.
And believe me, these costs are real. We're talking about lost revenue for a small business that can't open its doors. We're talking about hundreds of dollars of spoiled food you have to throw out, or not being able to charge a phone to call your family. And most critically, losing power for life-saving medical devices, or even just the AC during a dangerous heat wave. Look, this isn't just some abstract idea or a what-if scenario. To really get why this matters so much, we have to look at a truly tragic real-world example from Florida, where a simple power outage wasn't just an inconvenience, it turned into a lethal event. So here's what happened. Back in September 2017, after Hurricane Irma had already passed, a nursing home in Hollywood Hills lost power to its air conditioning. The storm was over, but the real disaster was just starting. Over the next 3 days, the temperature inside that building just soared to deadly levels, and with no fix in sight, the situation became a full-blown crisis. 12, that's the number. 12 elderly residents lost their lives. And they didn't die from the storm's wind or rain. They died from the suffocating heat that built up inside after one single electrical component failed and took out the air conditioning. This was just a horrifying wake-up call. It proved, with zero doubt, that energy security is not a luxury. It's a non-negotiable part of keeping people safe, especially the most vulnerable folks. This tragedy directly led to new laws in Florida that now require facilities like this one to have reliable backup power for their cooling systems. Okay. So that heartbreaking story shows you the absolute worst-case scenario. It highlights the problem in the starkest terms possible. So now, let's talk about the solution. A solar and battery storage system basically acts as your personal, on-site resilience shield against this exact kind of failure. And when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. On one hand, you're completely dependent on this massive, centralized grid that's vulnerable and can take days to repair. On the other hand, you have your own on-site, independent power source that gives you instant, reliable backup the second you need it. But here's the really cool part. This idea of resilience, it doesn't just stop at your own front door. This technology actually has the power to make entire communities stronger, creating little islands of stability right when they're needed the most. Just picture this for a second. A huge storm knocks out power across the region. But instead of total chaos, imagine public schools and community centers becoming resilience hubs. They're cooling centers for people, they're charging stations for phones, and they're reliable command posts for first responders. Each one becomes a critical piece of a stronger safety net for the whole community. So when you put all this together, it really brings us to a whole new bottom line. It's time we start recalculating the value of solar, but using a formula that actually accounts for what truly matters. Let's actually redo the math right here.
The old way of thinking, the traditional ROI, is pretty simple, right? You take the system cost, subtract your tax credits and savings, and you get your financial payback. But the resilience ROI adds that crucial, often priceless variable, the avoided outage cost. The minute you factor in the value of keeping your family safe and your business running, the whole equation changes. It's not just about payback anymore, it's about true value and real security.
You see, we have to stop thinking about battery backup as some kind of luxury, an upgrade. It's not. In places like Florida, it is an essential piece of safety equipment. A home or a business without reliable backup power is just exposed to this massive risk. Resilience is no longer an upgrade. It is an absolute necessity. And really, that's what it all boils down to. When you're trying to figure out the cost, don't just think in dollars and cents on a utility bill. Ask yourself this. What is the price of knowing your family is safe, your business is secure, and that you can weather any storm? What's the price of your peace of mind?